Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, welcome. My name is Monica and welcome to my December, and I probably will talk about some of my yearly wrap-up. It is the last wrap-up of the year. I read 28 books. My first book in December was a 4-star, and that was The Woodsman by Dr. Rebecca Sharp. My last book I finished last night, which was Christmas Day, Revenge Era. That was a 3-star. Okay, I finished 3 books yesterday. Let me just say this: I had 2 5-stars, 3 4.5 stars, 13 4-stars, 4 3.5 stars, 4 3 stars, 1 2.5 stars, and 1 DNF. I've listened to Where It Begins by Helena Hunting. I talked about this. This was a short novella about Sky and Sydney's is their origin story. Sky is Violet Hall or Violet Waters' mother. Sydney is Buck Miller's father, and it's how everybody got together and they became a family. And so you get to see a teenage Violet, a teenage Buck, and a teenage Randy Balls, and it was a lot of fun. I gave 4.5 stars. It was just a lot of fun. I loved it. See, I like Pucked, and I like that whole series, so this was a lot of fun for me. It was very nostalgic. It was everything I wanted in it. The thing with Helena Hunting, her sexy scenes, her steamy scenes are very steamy, and they're not cringy. So I really enjoyed it. It was 4.5 stars, and there's one thing with it is that it was also very funny. And you get to see why Violet hates weddings so much in this. And then I read The House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas for the read-along. This thing took forever. It took me 10 days to read this. Listen, the first part of it took me a minute to get into it because it was very info-dumpy. I am not the biggest fantasy reader, but it was very interesting. I really enjoyed Bryce and her relationship with her friends. Oh my gosh. The sprite, I can't remember her name, but when she sacrificed herself at the end, had me bawling my eyes out. My friends are with me, and I am not alone. I was crying my eyes out. But that's not in the beginning, that's at the end. But anyway, oh, and the vacuum scene, iconic. If Hoover could license that scene, they'd make a killing as a commercial for that. I'm serious, that would be awesome. Okay, let me get back on track. Okay, so the beginning was interesting. Even though it was info dumpy, I was okay with that. It took me a minute to get into it because of the info dumpiness. But then the middle, I was so freaking bored. I was so bored. Like, I stopped reading to watch the second part of The Crown because I was like, I'm bored. I mean, I was singing songs about how bored I was. That's how bored I was. Okay, so, and I know Sarah J. Maas is writing because of that guitar series. She doesn't put things in just to put things in. There's a method to her madness. She puts things in that have to be in there. So, well, I don't get it right now. I know I'm going to need all that information, even at 3 pages. Everything in there is needed. So I'm trusting her for those 803 pages to lead me to what I'm going to need later on, right? So the middle part, I'm like, I'm bored. I need something to happen. Let's get it going. But I really loved her development with Bryce's development with Hunt's character, where they had this tentative friendship and then their tentative relationship. This is not steamy. Whoever said this was steamy and they need to read the Salacious Players Club, or even a lot of, man, if you think this is steamy, let's have a conversation of what steamy books are before we have a conversation about this book. Because, I mean, let's read A Court of Silver Flames. That book is steamy, okay? This one is not. They don't even do anything except for like one part, and they're cut off because of something that happens to Hunt, which is horribly sad. Anyway, but then you get to the end where everything just sort of blows up and all the action happens. And I'm just like, okay, so now we're getting to it. And everything comes to light, right? I really enjoyed this book. I gave 4.5 stars. I just needed not to be so bored in the middle. If I wasn't so bored in the middle, it would have been a 5-star perfect read for me, but I was so bored in the middle. And then I gotta talk to you about my first 5-star read. And it is King of Greed by Anna Wong. This one is a marriage in trouble, and he grovels like nobody's business, but he grovels in a way that someone who's been in a relationship for so long, and he knows Alessandra, he knows what she needs. It's not like, and Dom is so different from all the other heroes in Anna Wong's universe that it makes perfect sense for the character. It makes perfect sense for the storyline. It makes perfect sense for the plotting, everything. It makes perfect sense. And the way he lets her go, and the way he steps back to let her date, it was heartbreaking, but it was necessary for the character development, character growth, and for the plotting of the story, and for those two to, they never stopped loving each other, but he needed to understand what he did was wrong, by ignoring her for so long and taking her for granted, and she needed to be shown that he did still love her by him letting her go. And that's what he did. And I actually thought it was the perfect amount of grovel. And I will die on that hill with everybody else who says it, because it was. And there is a lot of beautiful, small, romantic moments. When he showed up in Brazil to be with her, that was beautiful. And her brother did not quite know what to do with it. Was awesome. It's like, because her brother was loyal to his sister, but he also loves his brother-in-law. So, I mean, it was a whole thing. But that one hit well, and I gave it 5 stars. It was my first 5-star read. It was so good. And then on Christmas Day, which was yesterday, I read my last 5-star read for the year, and it was 6 Scorched Roses. This is a novella by Carissa Broadbent. This is a romantasy. I don't know how she made a perfect fantasy novella about a human girl and a vampire. She took what could have been a full-length book and condensed it into a novella size. Like it's a slow burn romance length novel. I was like, I'm impressed. I'm really impressed, because it was a complete story. The romance was complete. The world building was complete. It's in the world of the Crowns of Nyaxia. It has it's about a human girl who is trying to save her community, because they're in a plague. She should have died years ago, and she hasn't died. And a vampire she makes a deal with a vampire. For every vial of blood, she gives him a rose that does not die, and they end up falling in love. And honestly, I really enjoyed this. This was so good, and I gave it 5 stars. Another 4.5 stars that I read yesterday was 12 Slaves of Christmas by Jacqueline Frost. This was, I think, Samantha. This is a cozy mystery, Samantha's book. They read this earlier in the month. That was their book pick for their cozy mystery book. I didn't get it in time from my library, but it came, so I decided to go ahead and listen to it anyway. It was on Hoopla, but I didn't have enough credits. I don't get a lot of credits on my Hoopla, which is really annoying, but I decided to listen to it anyway. And it was about a cozy murder mystery set in Maine, and Holly ended up being cheated on by her fiance. She goes home to, I think, Mistletoe, Maine, and she was living in Portland, Maine, and the new sheriff is from Boston, and he's not connected to the small town Maine. Anyway, so we are opened up with this woman coming in and berating this guy who we're opening up with this older lady berating Holly's father about fencing. She storms out, and Holly ends up going after her and finds her dead. And it's them, and Holly's trying to help solve the mystery because she wants to make sure, well, one, prove that her dad was not the, because everybody at that moment is a suspect, but immediately her dad is eliminated as a suspect. But also, but immediately that black cloud of suspicion is not hanging over her family farm because they need the income coming in from the reindeer games that they put on every year because they're a Christmas tree farm. Anyway, and so she's trying to find out who killed this lady, and the sheriff, who's from Boston, is like, you can't do that. You need to not do that. And she's starting to get targeted by the real killer, and they have a bit of a romance. It's a slight romance, but it's there, and it was really cute, and I really enjoyed the whodidit, and it was a lot of fun. It was kind of like, I felt like I was in a Hallmark movies and mysteries or Murder, She Wrote. It was a lot of fun. I gave it 4.5 stars. This was really great. I loved it. I kind of wish I was able to get it earlier so I could have been part of that live show, but it was a lot of fun. Anyway, so that's more my real top reads. But I will say this. This month I started the Alliance series on by S.J. Tilley. Those are a lot of fun. They are unhinged and completely nutty and bonkers, but they are a whole heck of a lot of fun. First was Nero. He literally walks into her apartment. She's like, "What are you doing?" And she's a virgin hero, and he's like, and he starts stalking her, and he's like, I know this is wrong, but I just want her. So he continues to stalk her, and his friend King is like making fun of him for it, right? And it's their romance. It was a lot of fun. I gotta listen to King, and I did listen to King, but I'm gonna talk about that. I'm not gonna go through King because I made it in a vlog, which you will see on Saturday. Anyway, so that is my December wrap up. I do quickly want to go over my yearly TBRs. So for my 23 books I wanted to read in 2023, I had DNF'd one book off of that entire TBR, and that was Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake, because the writing was just too pretentious for me. I could not read it. I just could not read it. I gave 5 stars to The Words by Ashley Jade, The Highwayman by Kerrigan Byrne, Romancing the Duke by Tessa Dare, Real by Kennedy Ryan, The Serpents and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent, When Gracie Met the Grump by Mariana Zapata, and Yours Until Dawn by Teresa Medeiros. Oh, I also did DNF Lifeblood by Amara Ray. I kept trying to get into it. I think I tried like 3 or 4 times, and it was not happening for me. So unfortunately that just one didn't work for me. For 10 books that scared me, I started, but then but it didn't get very far. And then a friend of mine told me that I would hate read, and so I didn't want to do that. So I ended up DNFing and decided not to finish, and took it on the advice of not to finish read Credence by Penelope Douglas, because of some stuff that someone told me that was in that book that I would probably get very upset about. So, and I don't like to hate read anything. I don't like to do that. So I don't like to hate read anything. That's not what I'm about. For the 5 stars off of the 10 books that scare me, TBR is Love Letter to Whiskey by Candy Steiner, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, and Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. And for my TBR for 12 friends recommendations TBR, I read all of them and I did not DNF any of them. For my 5-star reads, I had 5 5-star reads off that TBR. They were Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt, Into the Weeds by BK Borison, For Lucy by Julie Ann, Nobody's Duke by Scarlett Scott, and The Temptation of a Highlander by Elisa Braden. So out of 387 books I've read this year, I have 83 5 stars, or 83 favorites. I'm sorry, I had to open my doors for Walter. He is in a very loving mood, and he's my fur baby. Anyway, yeah, and you will see my best of my best coming very soon. But I wanted to give you my yearly stats as well as my December wrap up. So yeah, those are my yearly stats, along with my December stats. Let me know how many books you've read in December, and or how many you've read anyway, so those are my December stats as well as my yearly stats. What was your favorite book that you read in December? How many books have you read throughout the year? I would really like to know. If you want to leave that down below. If you made it this far in this video and you want to let me know that you're here, but you don't want to comment on anything, please leave me a red heart emoji, as it's still Christmas time. And until next time, my friends, happy reading. Bye.